got the bigger screen and better audio and all that kind of thing. But my work computer is a laptop, which is upstairs in the office. It's in the spare bedroom. So, but it doesn't have a camera on it, you know, so.
All right, folks. So we are live once again at the lab, and we're excited today. And as usual, same day, just a different channel. Or should I say that? I'm a little trying to get started here. Folks, today we got Drew Swirsky from the Elite Real Estate Group, Tyler Holloway from PC United Program, yours truly, Eric Quadras from Mass Business Coaching. And today we have the privilege and honor of having Randy Bordelon from CCC Solutions. He's a sales executive there, and we're happy to have him here. He's got a great story. He happens to be a Vietnam vet, also a Marine. And we're just happy to have you here. Welcome to the lab, Randy.
Eric, great. Good morning to see you. And since you brought up the Marine thing, you know you shouldn't have done that. You know, I was actually out with a bunch of guys, a number of us former Marines, and we were down in Kilmarnock for the weekend. And we took the occasion to drive across the Tappahannock there and go over to Christchurch over by Saluda and visit the grave of Chesty Puller.
Oh, Chesty.
Oh, yeah. So it's good to stop in and see old Chesty.
Hey, I got to ask you, though.
Yeah.
I have to ask you. So we're completely going off a protocol here, but it's all good. This is the lab, and we do whatever we want in the lab. So, Chesty or Mad Dog?
I'm sorry?
Chesty or Mad Dog?
You mean choose between the two?
Yep.
Don't want to get into that.
It's so good. It's so good, man. That's good.
I mean, we could get into some opinionated stuff here. I think we're all kind of here to focus on business for the day.
Absolutely. We'll leave that one alone. All right. So tell us a little bit about you, Randy. I know you got a great story. Tell us, how do you get into CCC Solutions? I mean, we want to know more. So I'm sure you got great stories to tell. So go right ahead.
Well, I moved to the area in 78. I was working initially for Honeywell. It devolved into, they sold our part of the company and different things happened. I wound up being BAE Solutions at some point, and that was with them for some years. And left them in 2009, and in 2010 went to Booz Allen for about a year plus, and retired in 2011. And kicked around, retired for a couple of years. And got back into doing some work here and there. I was doing some rep work, if you would, and I happened to meet John Rutenberg, and he got to talk to me about this CRM. I was using one where I was working before, and I didn't like it. And I saw John's. I said, I like this one. And he says, well, why don't you come work for me? So that's how I came aboard CCC Solutions as a former IT guy. I didn't understand what they meant by managing customer relationships with a system. Managing relationships is something that you do. However, we all need automation nowadays. So the underpinning of how you manage that relationship is containing your content, connecting you to your communications facilities, and enabling you to, have the power of computing behind you and being able to reach out in very different ways. John just put out something on our email stream the other day talking about, what would you look for in a CRM? So he called out some core features: workflow, marketing automation, reporting, and mobile, and security. And just to touch on a couple of those, it's one thing to have an information log, if you would. You say, well, I can keep track of what I need to know, my 150 contacts or so, in an Excel spreadsheet. Lots of folks do that. But if you want to do some searching and reporting, it gets pretty hard. And particularly if you're looking, hey, today I'm a smaller business, but going through what we're going through now, I either need to be a larger business or I need to be out of business. So you come back to the question of, how do I do what I do better? How can I reach more potential clients? How can I stay in better touch with the clients that I've got? So I've got a little PowerPoint here. If you wanted me to run through a couple of slides, is that appropriate?
No, actually, we no, we don't want to see. We really don't want to see PowerPoints. We want to
You
hear
got
about
it.
you.
We're done.
We don't want to see PowerPoints, man. We want to see
Yeah.
you. We want to hear about you.
Yeah.
And we completely understand what you're saying to us, right? So
Yeah. Well, the thing I've enjoyed about being with
the whole importance
CCC,
of client management and yeah. Go
the
ahead.
thing I've enjoyed about being with CCC is it's the larger products. Most of them are dealing with firms that 1,000 and above. I mean, if you call them up, you say I'm a singleton operator. Certainly, they'll say, well, here's a license, send in the money, and 12 months from now we renew you automatically, and for another 12 months. So we, however, are trying to address the small, medium business, say 5 to 100 member firms, and give them custom installation of a very flexible, very performant CRM, and match them up with some really enterprise class features. So that's what we're about. And before all this pandemic stuff came in, I was going to a lot of business network meetings in Tyson's and Fairfax, Annandale. So got to enjoy that, and I meet a lot of people doing a lot of different things. When I was an IT guy, I met IT people doing IT things. But nowadays, meeting a lot of folks in real estate like Drew, and also, as we come together in these things. There's just a wide plethora of different kinds of businesses. Most of the groups have what they call the firm seats, the finance, the insurance, real estate, and mortgage, and around them different other businesses cluster. So in what we do, we're B2B, and some of the businesses that are franchised, they already have some kind of CRM solution dictated from elsewhere, and that's okay. But they know people who know people, so we're always glad to be out there to make acquaintances and to provide answer some questions, and give referrals when and where we can to people. I mean, with Carolina, she said, well, we're getting involved with this moving company. And so I found here in Vienna, someone had a moving truck to sell. And I kind of passed that on to her, which I don't think that that transaction happened. But I think they were glad to at least get the referral to know that was available.
Absolutely. Tyler?
Hey, Randy, I got a question for you. You said something that I really love to hear from people, and you mentioned really loving the product, okay, when you met the owner of the company. And I think that that's really important. I encourage people to find a product or a service that they're passionate about, and then diving into it, because then it becomes more than work and there's more of a why behind what you do. So I would love to hear a little bit about your passion for CCC Solutions, and when you saw it, what made you go, man, this is the thing and I want to be involved in this.
Well, actually, if I were to put up one of those PowerPoint Venn diagrams, that we shouldn't use, what a solution looks like with us is CCC Solutions, which is John's firm. I work for him, and a few other people have roles too. But the other part is the X2 CRM application. X2 CRM is built by X2 Engine out in Santa Cruz, California, and it's an open source software product for those of us that come from a geek background and love open source stuff. It's built primarily with Python, PHP, and but it's very flexible and very configurable, very customizable. And so when I just got a look at the desktop, and I found that I could just move stuff around and put it where I wanted, and put together the kind of experience I wanted, and I wasn't constrained by some guy in another city who decided what my desktop should look like. So I said, hell, this is fun, But so part of it is us, and part of it is the X2 application, which has all those features I mentioned earlier. But the third part is going to be the client. I mean, we can lead the horse to water, but we can't make him drink. So to really have a full, solution, we have to have clients that kind of come in, see the need, want the solution, and are ready to work with us, and we all get there together. But it's the people side of it that I think is engaging as well as the technical side. Because like I said, I'm getting insights to all these kinds of businesses I'd never even thought of. I would say I never thought much about the landscape business, but both of my neighbors here in Vienna have now engaged landscape service providers. I'm the last guy pushing my mower around here. And I'm getting sorely tempted. But we out here in the burbs, we have a lot of different types of small, medium business that need to stay in touch with their clientele and expand that touch. And so right now, part of the hope of it is that on one occasion, maybe two, going to all these meetings, if I actually run into anybody who's doing CRM. Everybody, a lot of people have them, they know what they are, they can rattle off the more popular solutions. But in terms of actually being out there to meet and work with people, nobody else is really doing that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, there's another thing that you just talked about, and that's the individual connection, right? CRMs of the past, and, you talked about not being able to customize, not being able to customize a dashboard or things like that. CRMs of the past, at least while I was growing up through high school and college, they were very limited, and they didn't really provide you that one-to-one interaction. I just finished an article talking about how it used to be, you had your grandma or your mom, right? And she had that book, that address book. She sent out the Christmas cards, and everything was religious. It got updated. And now, since we've got so much information out there, and then some of the non-customizable aspects of the first real functional CRMs, we lost that connection with a lot of people. So I would love, you just mentioned insights on people and their businesses. How does your solution, I'd love to hear more about how CCC Solutions and their CRM provides that real connection with customers.
Well, our business cycle is such that once we engage in conversation with the customer, once the interest is there, we come forward to basically a requirements meeting. Now, when I was with Big Co and we were dealing with big agency, the requirements meeting was a big deal, But basically, we kind of go through and say, how do you need to use the system? What do you want to do? And we sort of define and delineate what their needs are. What are their hot buttons? What do they want to do? And so we kind of look at the palette of features and say, well, okay, this is important to you, that's important to you. And of course you want a calendar, of course you want some of these other things, they're going to be there. But we do a custom install. And we also, get your data in Excel CSV format and load the data in so that we do a custom install on the modules that affect you. There's some other modules that may be available that you don't want to use, so those are not configured. Now, at any time, you can come back and say, we've been doing this thing 6 months now, and we talked about say the products module or the quotes module, and we elected not to use it, but now we're thinking we should. Okay, well, we might come back in and do a little more turn on. However, when you get the product and the service, it's all one price, and you don't pay any additional monthly service fee. And after the first year, you go month to month. We don't lock you in like some other providers do. So again, it's the personal relationship. And occasionally we found that, here's someone that says, we're a 501c3, And what we need to do is we need to track donations, and we need to track membership fees, and we need to, some things like that. So the product is flexible so that we can actually build that module for them as part of our installation process. Because X2, there's a term out there for those who had some touch with the geek world called low-code automation. Well, X2 CRM is a great example of that. You can add to the, you can add a whole module to this, without thousands and thousands of dollars. So our typical install runs about $1,200 to $1,700, depending on, what kind of complex things or less complex things that we do for you. And, but that includes installation of your data. It also includes 3 hours of training, which are done like this. So the training is, one-to-one or one-to-few. It's recorded and it's provided to you so that you get a staff change or somebody new comes in later on. They said, how do I use a CRM? Here, go watch the custom training for our instance.
So custom install, custom training, you get it recorded, you get a custom install that sets it up the way you want it. You can you can change it after that if you want. You're on a month-to-month contract. That sounds great and it sounds amazing, and I can understand why you would like a product like that. I without switching gears, and if there's anything else you have to tell us about the CRM, I'm open to hear it. But when I look, when I was looking at your website, it also talked about inbound marketing with qualified leads into customers. I'd love to hear more about that platform or perspective as well.
The website reflects, if you would, some things the company does, which I don't promote that much. And there's sort of reason for that. I mean, part of John's operation over there's a training operation, but he's training Word, Excel, some things like that. So if you're in Tyson's Corner, you're not going to Wisconsin for that, okay? Wisconsin and DC. And we also do some SEO and some other things like that. So we do some web consulting, but typically our clientele for that has been more contained around Bethesda. So the corporate address is just actually right across the line, DC and Bethesda right there, DC, Montgomery County. And we do have, some marketing consulting thing that goes on. One of our affiliates is a guy named Lee Brinkley. And Lee just gave a presentation last Thursday for the Mason Enterprise Center, Giselle Stoltz's Enterprise Center over there that operates out of, Mason with the Fairfax Chamber. And so he was talking about Google Analytics, and it was a pretty well received thing. So, we have some other things that we're operational in, but I don't typically myself get involved in them because our focus this side of the Potomac tends to be the CRM. And the reason for that is there are firms that do those things over here pretty well too, So it's kind of a matter of, we're not trying to go head to head with them where, they're already established in these areas. And, so it makes more sense for us to focus on CRM in Virginia.
Absolutely. And focusing on one thing is definitely when you start looking at people's businesses and them focusing on one thing that's made them successful. So that's great. Oftentimes people try to spread themselves too thin as a business, and that can end up causing problems. What I would love to hear about is your insights, right? You have to have learned a lot being a technology ninja, right? And then going into this business where you've been working so closely with customization for individuals, different types of businesses. What are some of the things that you've learned just about business or people that might be able to help some of the other people that are going to watch this video?
Well, I'm fairly new in this particular thing myself. So in my previous work history, there was a point in time where I was in product marketing for a while. And so I went out, did stand-ups and presentations and so forth. And when the product that I was representing basically got overtaken by other technology, had to climb back in over the fence to get back into engineering. It was a little bit of a challenge. But I do think that, just kind of watching what's going on in the world, talking to folks, being out there like all of you are, we're increasingly challenged to kind of up our game and in terms of staying abreast technically, because, our competitors are. So the important thing is you can't just say, well, I've got my CRM solution, my ERP solution or whatever, and it's there and it works and I like it and I'm happy with it. Yeah, that's fine. But I think every 6 months to a year, you need to be looking around a little bit and evaluating where am I, where are we going? It's good today, but will it be good tomorrow? So I think that's the challenge, is to always be reassessing the technologies you're using. I think we have a thing going on right now. Eric should kid me about this, but I don't have a Twitter account. So I see people post me texts and stuff like that have tweets in them, and but I've elected not to do that. Now the thing is, though, that Twitter is more of a thing, I think, of a slightly older generation. I'm told that the millennials and below are all going to Instagram. So, if you say, well, I've got a business that I'm trying to aim at that demographic profile, you might like Twitter. You might be used to Twitter. However, it's not going to be going and supporting the clientele that you're looking for. So I think the big, takeaway for me is, to promote reassessment. Always look at what you're doing and where you need to be going.
Hey, Randy, that reassessment is huge. Let me ask you this. Tell us a little bit about you personally. You have family in the area. What do you do for fun?
I belong to the Isaac Walton League, which is out in Centerville. I haven't been out there much. They've been closed down like everything else, but it's kind of a conservation club, but mostly the people who belong are sportsmen, hunters, and some fishermen and things like that. Mostly I've been going out the last year or two with my bow and arrow, but also have, a few rifles, things like that. So that's the range. Don't get there much these days, but like the outdoors. As I'm at an age, I want to be spending more time out there, getting some fresh air and exercise.
Yeah, we got to introduce you to Jeremy and Coop from Mortali's Outdoor Adventures. We had him on the lab about 2 days ago.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed that, because those are the hunters in North Carolina, right?
Yeah, they're about 40 minutes from Myrtle Beach.
Sign me up.
Yeah. I'll send you the information. They're some great guys.
Yeah. So
they used to be Force Recon guys.
So my wife and I, it's just the two of us now. We have a son who's in his early 30s. He works for the city of Philadelphia. Also went to UVA. Was commissioned in the Marines when he graduated in 2010. He and his wife got married in 2014, lived in Richmond for a bit, and went on to Philadelphia. There's two kids, a son who's coming up on 4, and a little girl that's about 1.5. And they're just beautiful kids, and we love them. So that's kind of the family aspect. I'm originally from Louisiana. I have a brother and 2 sisters still back in the state. Last went down to see him in October. My youngest niece got married, and that was a lot of fun. Well, we're pretty involved in church stuff. I belong to some veterans clubs here, VFW and the American Legion, and some of the usher at my church, and usual kind of things for some guys my age, you know. But in terms of contact sports and things like that, I'm sort of past any of that.
All right, so Randy, we're in a part of the lab now when we go into a session of the lab that is called rapid fire. And what you need to do is Drew's going to ask you some questions, and you have to do the best that you can to answer the questions as best and as fast as you possibly can. You ready?
Shoot.
All right, Drew, you're on.
All right, Randy, here we go. Favorite place the Marines took you?
Probably San Diego, although that wasn't a great spot, but in terms, it was better than others.
When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I had no idea.
Never a fireman or anything like that? No.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Well, actually, I'm actually officially retired, and I never have figured out what I wanted to do. I'm having fun with this, however. This is great stuff.
That's good. That's good.
All right. What's your favorite quarantine meal so far?
Favorite quarantine meal? I don't know if you guys are familiar with Chinese food, but Dan noodles is one I fix up for myself sometime. Just some peanut butter and noodles and a little stock, and boom. You got to have a little hot sauce too. But I put that together.
All right. What's your favorite snack food during the quarantine?
Favorite snack food? Probably quesadilla.
All right. Last show you guys binge watched?
The last show, you mean movie or something?
Like the last TV show you watched a couple episodes of?
I hate to answer this. my wife's a big fan of Hallmark, and so that's what's on the house a lot of times.
That's so good.
Okay.
And I can't tell you what I usually kid her about the series, and but I can't say why because I'd probably get sued.
Okay. Well, let's skip that question. What's the last book you read?
Last book I read. Well, it's a book I'm always reading. That's the Bible.
Yes, sir. What's the pro sport you missed the most during the quarantine?
Pro sport I miss the most. Don't follow sports that much, but I am a fan of the LSU Tigers, national champs. Thank you very much. Go Joe Burrows. Go Tigers.
So we are really close friends with somebody that used to be the mascot. What's that? Mikey was the mascot, right? The Tiger.
Mike the Tiger, yeah.
Mike the Tiger. So Mike the Tiger, for many years, as a guy by the name of Shane Como. He's from the same place you're from.
Yeah.
And he's a close friend of ours. So we probably. Oh, actually, you met Shane. He's part of that moving company you went to visit, right?
I didn't go over there.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
And
so
now
Shane,
I will. Now I have to
Shane,
go.
So Shane Como, he's.
And see, I even know how to spell his name. Comeaux. You
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah. So Shane used to be Mikey. So for many years. So
Well,
now
that's
you got a
great.
reason to go over there. Drew, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. I'm done, Randy. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Randy. So here we're at a part of the interview where at the lab where we we ask you to share your information with the audience so that they can find you in case they need you. So if you would just be kind enough to do that.
You want to put it up on the chat or just?
No, just say it.
Okay. Just do what? Just say it?
Just say it. Say
Yeah.
it loud.
All right. My first name is Francis. That's what's on the mortgage and the driver's license and so forth. However, I go by Randy. It's my family nickname given me by my mom. And so I always answer that first. So it's Randy Bordelon, Bordelon, French name from Louisiana, long history. The corporate email is Randy at cccsolutions, all one word, .com. And my mobile number is 703-346-5393. And brand is the name, CRM is the game. Okay.
All right, all right. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our lab today. We want to thank you on behalf of Drew Swirsky from the Elite Real Estate Group, Tyler Holloway from the PC United program, yours truly, Eric Quadros from Map Systems Coaching, Mr. Randy Bordenham, thank you very much. We appreciate you having you here, and we look forward to continue to see CCC Solutions and their continued success. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Eric. Glad to be here.
We're happy to have you. Thank you, sir.